When I was asked to talk about my faith journey from a friend of mine, Rick, number 7 on his list, I thought about it for a minute. I said, okay, Rick, no problem, I can do that. My faith journey began with my grandmother. I'm from Sierra Leone, West Africa, and I was raised by my grandmother. My parents were here in the States, and we got to stay with my grandparents on my mother's side. So my life consisted of church, school, and home. Being the oldest and from the preacher's kids, as we call ourselves, my dad is an ordained Methodist minister for over 45 years here in the United States, UK, as well as other parts of the world. So, but I got to live with my grandmother, who taught me about faith. She was a communion stewardess. She sang in the choir, and of course, wherever she went, I went. So that's how my faith sort of started and grew. My ancestors were from different denominations, but we were all raised Methodists. The people that really fostered or helped my faith grow would be, again, my family members and other people who were non-Christians. We were raised with Muslims, Arabs, different international folks, and their faith was different from ours. We went to church on Sunday, and they worshiped on Fridays and other different holidays. We got to experience all of that, but for me, being a Christian stood out more so because we got to do things differently. We followed Christ, and I did not see that in the other religions. Not that I would have changed, but it just wasn't prevalent in those other religions. The major milestone in my faith journey, when I was diagnosed a couple of years ago, I sort of doubted my Christianity. I went through the treatments, and as I was recovering, one of my cousins called me and said they were going to Jerusalem. I'm like, Jerusalem? As in Jerusalem, Pennsylvania? They have the Holy Land and all those things. She said, no, we're actually going to Jerusalem. I said, really? I said, okay, sign me up. So we got to take the trip, 2006, and it was amazing. I got to walk the path of Christ. I got to sit in the tomb. Yes, it was empty. I got to glean the Boaz's field. It was just awesome. We went to the Mount of Olives. We went to the Garden of Gethsemane. And there I just laid prostrate in the altar, and I said, leave me here, I'll be okay. And I was there for an hour just praising and thanking him for dying for me. We came back, and that sort of cemented my journey because I got to see where Christ was crucified for not just me, for everyone else who accepted him. My favorite Bible verse was Jesus wept, because as a PK, we all had to, every Sunday, we had to recite a Bible verse that we had learned that week. So as my sisters and brothers will take turns going, Jesus wept one Sunday, they will take it, because it was the shortest verse in the Bible. And it was just awesome. It was like, it was nothing to remember. Jesus wept. And then when I thought about it, I was like, oh, well, why did he cry? And I was like, he cried for us. He cried for his friend. But we were all included in that crying. So that was my favorite passage to remember, as also to recite on Sunday morning. My favorite readings were C.S. Lewis. And it was funny when Pastor Mahia was here, he touched upon C.S. Lewis and different things of different topics that he had written. And I was like, oh, okay. And then also John Wesley, his writings, and Susanna Wesley, and all those old hymns and things that I grew up with back home. Of course, again, influenced by my grandmother. Words of wisdom that I will leave for my fellow Christians. Christ is real. He's there. Reach out to him. There's no other thing I can say. Just embrace him. Stay in the path. And I pray that all of my sisters and brothers who are in Christ stay in him. And if nothing else, with this faith that I have and I continue to have, I'm just going to be waiting somewhere, listening for my name. I thank you for walking this path with me, and I love you all.